Huh? Where's the I-Pace? So I just dropped my car back into the garage to have a few more faults looked at. We mentioned them in last week's video. So this is the ride for the week. Well, actually, I hope it's not the week, probably for the next day or so. It is until the I-Pace is back. Yeah, it's a good car, but yeah, it's not an I-Pace. Oh, well, I guess they're actually working on my car with the bonnets open. That's good. That's actually the second day they've had it now. No ETA at the moment. Obviously, quite a few things for them to look at. Hopefully, when it comes back, I won't need to return it again. I think it'll have all the current updates by that point, and as we were saying last week, I suspect over-the-air updates are not going to be too far away. So that's all good. It just means I have to drive this lovely XE I've got at the moment, which, yeah. So I'm just heading out to do something really odd. Fill the car up with fuel. I haven't done that in a week or so. I think that's actually going to cost me as much tonight to fill this car up with fuel as it's cost me in all the time I've been running the I-Pace. Yes. An experience I don't really want to repeat in future. I've really gone over to this modern way of working. So, off to get some diesel. I can't actually remember the last time I filled up with diesel. Certainly haven't filled up with fuel for a while. I mean, the last car I had was petrol. But certainly since I've had the I-Pace, I hadn't had to do this, and I haven't really worried about it. I mean, I said the other day that I've been keeping it around the 200 mile range. After my journey to pick up the new glasses, I was down to about 100, just about 85 miles. Topped it up, back up in half an hour. I tried to use the Ecotricity charger, local Ecotricity charger. Now, one thing on that, which is quite annoying, is you've got a 45-minute limit on it. Now, I can understand that from the point of view you've only got one CCS charger, and people might want to charge, so that makes some sense. But for the I-Pace, it means you can't really charge for any length of time. So yeah, as I was saying, I'm conscious of the fact that when we're dealing with chargers, there's only one or two CCS. In fact, on the Ecotricity there's only one CCS of the pair. That's something to watch out for. Usually the left-hand one of the two, I believe. Though some sources did say there wasn't much consistency on that. But yeah, so there's obviously a risk there that you're going to be clogging up a charger that someone else wants. So you're really only going to get a maximum of 45 minutes, probably half an hour's worth of charging at one of those chargers, and that's 50 kilowatt is not going to give you an awful lot of charge. I mean, 25 kilowatts of charge basically. So yeah, not 25 kilowatts hours, I would say, of charge. So you're charging at 50 kilowatts, but you get 25 kilowatts over the half hour. 25 kilowatt hours over the half hour. God, this is confusing, this stuff. I'm finding this car a lot more difficult to see out than the I-Pace is. I don't quite know why that is. I know they've got the cameras now, but I think it's because you're so low down. Can't see over other cars as easily. Definitely not as bulky to get through gaps. An electric one of these would be quite a good Model 3 competitor. Right, let's go and do this funky thing. I don't even know where the diesel pumps are in this one. I'll have to try and find them. Maybe down here. Can't see a black lead on that one. Let's go down here. That's diesel. Yes, that's what we need. Come down here and get it. And I'm on the wrong side of the car because I completely forgot the pump's on the other side. Let's come back out and do that again. I'm in the wrong car. How annoying. I've done that with the charger as well. Let's do that again. Yes, I've done that with the charger as well, because obviously you have to make sure you can reach. And that is one thing you do have to watch. You need to be able to reach it. So let's just see. Let's go for Supreme Diesel. I guess that's better quality. Don't know what this needs, but we'll try that, and I'll report back in a second. So I ended up putting about £30 into the XE then, £30 of diesel. So what did that give me? Well, it gave me 278 miles of range on the clock, and I had about 70 miles of range on the clock when I got there, so 208 miles of range, which is pretty equivalent to what the I-Pace would give me on a full charge. You get about 210.
So how much would that cost to charge up? Well, my Ngenie charge the other day cost me £4, which I went from around about 10% to 90%, so 80% charge. Now, this is unrealistic because it would still cost me £4 to go all the way to 100%, but you can't stay on that charger that long. So let's say we'd have to do a second charge, top it up. So let's be really generous to the opposition and say that's £6. Or if I do it on a home charger, say on night rate, let's look at that and say, what can we get for a good decent night rate? Well, I've seen 9 kilowatts per hour, 9 pence per kilowatt hour mentioned. So let's say it's 10 pence a kilowatt hour, can make the maths easier. So let's call that £8.30. So really good. Now let's be really generous to the opposition and say we're doing it on day rate at say 20p a kilowatt. I mean, it's not much. With that might be the possibility. So then we're talking nearly £17, which is kind of crazy that it's under just over half price for the equivalent charge, equivalent mileage as a diesel, which is seen by most people as being the most economical way of running a vehicle. Now, admittedly, with a diesel car, you can fill the tank up and go a very long way without charging. Sorry, without refilling. But would you want to? I really don't think anything over 2 hours driving is something I really want to do without a rest and a break, and probably shouldn't be. So yeah, I think it's really good that we can get this sort of range for that sort of price. Now, obviously, there's a cost difference here. The I-Pace is going to cost a bit more than an equivalently spec diesel, probably not that much more, but let's say 10k or so, which is a lot of fuel. So lifetime cost of the vehicle, maybe that's a difficult one to judge. But depreciation now, that's an interesting point, because depreciation on diesels is very high at the moment. And depreciation on electric vehicles is starting to be seen as being more reasonable. In fact, some electric vehicles are actually going up in price on the second market. I've noticed that Renault Zoes, for example, are going up in price. I'm not sure that would happen with the I-Pace. Obviously, the way my company's buying this car is through contract hire, which means they're just effectively paying for the depreciation and a bit of interest on top of that, and that's all set in stone now. So whatever happens to depreciation, they're paying that same amount of money. And to be honest, the cost of this car compared to the cost of an equivalent diesel is very equivalent. I mean, so even though the diesel's got a lower starting price, the contract hire rates are about the same. So yeah, it's great value for money, I-Pace, and the savings I'm going to make over the year is just incredible. And the other thing, of course, is the company car tax. It starts off quite high the first 2 years of the lease, of the contract hire lease, but the last year is 2%. That's ridiculous. And the other thing is, of course, at the moment, is that we don't have to pay fuel benefit for having an electric vehicle. I can't see that lasting. I'm sure the HMRC will get their hands around the fact that electricity is actually being used as a fuel in this case. But I think the legislation actually specifically mentions fuel, and technically electricity isn't a fuel. So yeah, it's an interesting one. Anyway, I just hope I get my iPads back soon. So another day in the XE. This is, I don't know, day 4, day 5. Maybe even day 6 actually, but I've learned a few things driving this car. One thing is basically where some of the things we've got in the I-Pace comes from. For example, on the InTouch control system, we know that the radio keeps playing when you're in park, as long as you're in the car. As soon as you open the door and get out, everything shuts down. And a lot of people complained about this in the I-Pace. They'd like things to keep going when the doors open, you step out, especially if you've got a passenger. So I think that comes from this car, because on a normal car you've only got a little tiny 12-volt battery. You want to preserve that. You don't want that running down, because you're not going to start the motor, the engine next time. So yeah, I think that's where that's come from. Maybe not such a good idea on an electric car. You've got a big battery there, but maybe a good idea because you can preserve range. I certainly find it annoying when I'm charging that it does it, but yeah, it's something which has come from this vehicle. Anyway, this is also a test of this new microphone, so hopefully it sounds a lot better to you.
So I thought this rather interesting thing to try and help with the audio quality. I realised the audio quality on the blog hasn't been particularly brilliant, so hopefully this will help. It's a Rode Video Micro. with a rather interesting furry rodent on the end, and it's supposed to help us. I'm using it at the moment, so let's see if this audio is a bit better. Hopefully in the car it will help, because it's got this it's got this isolation mount, which hopefully will reduce the number of clicks and bumps you hear in the car. So hopefully it'll be useful. Oh well, I've just heard from the garage, and I'm not going to get the car back this weekend, which is a shame. Means I won't be able to vlog the trip to Swindon, which I was hoping to do. Yeah, annoying, but I'd rather they get it right. And it sounds like there's a few things they still want to get sorted out and looked at. I mean, at least they're taking it seriously. They haven't fobbed me off and said there's no problems. They've accepted that there's a problem and it needs sorting. So hopefully Monday I might get an answer. Now the other thing, of course, this week, which I should have thought about, is it's March the 1st. So new reg plate handover. So I guess there might be some prioritisation going on in the garage on new cars. I wouldn't be surprised by that either. So I may have been caught by that a little bit as well. But generally, I think I'd rather they actually get it right, and if they take their time over it, that's fine. It's just a shame, because I really did think I was going to get back today. But never mind, we'll see it Monday. So I'll put a link to this in the footnotes for this blog, and probably be an affiliate link with Amazon, so I'll get a little bit of money off it if you do click it. Just a heads up on that. But this is basically something someone commented on a previous blog. They saw this on the wall and wondered what it was. So basically this is a stick-on strip you can get. It's a rubber material. So you can basically press against it with your car and do no damage. So when I open the car door, I'm quite tight to the garage wall, and this gives me some reassurance that I'm not going to damage the car door when I open it. If I open it into the wall, obviously if I opened it into that breeze block material, it's going to scratch and scrape. But this stops it scratching and scraping totally, and gives quite a bit of protection. So yeah, a very good investment for the small amount of money I paid for it. I think I might actually put another strip below it as well, because sometimes when I'm on access height, I'm only just touching up at the top of the door. So yeah, probably a good idea to put another strip down below. But I say it's cheap enough to do so. So it's the next week, and I'm still waiting for the car to come back. It's in the garage. They're looking after it well. Yeah, I should get some feedback today on where we are. So I spent the weekend going to Swindon. I had to obviously do it in the diesel, the XE, which is okay. What I did notice though was that those predicted figures I was talking about were way off. Yeah, I mean the mileage estimate on there was nowhere near what I actually got. I mean I made, again, I'm heavy footed, so take it as you will, but I mean I think it was saying something like 278 when we left, and 100 miles later it was saying 110. Yeah, difficult to estimate what you're going to get on that, and obviously meant we had to fill up a bit more diesel. So actually, my cost estimates were probably way off, and the electric car is even more economical, as in price to run. It's not necessarily a particularly economical electric car, but it's certainly cost effective. You may notice I'm on the old glasses at the moment. That's because I've managed to leave the new glasses somewhere I shouldn't have done, but I'll pick them up shortly again. So we might have good news on my car, because they've just finished the safety check they do, which they tend to do only at the end of any maintenance. They actually send this little tiny video out, which is quite amusing. It's particularly amusing on the EV because there's not much for them to check, and the oil levels, etc., to check on it. So they usually just say it's okay. Picture my number plate and say it's okay. Anyway, looking forward to getting my car back. So what sounds like potentially good news. Just spoke to the garage, and they say the car is ready to come back to me if once it's released by the workshop. So the workshop control has to release it, so it's ready to come back. But they think it's all the work's done. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon now, so I suspect I won't get it back today, because they have to wash it as well before they hand it back. I quite like to wash it as well. It's nice to have it clean. But I would like it back today. If I could get it back today, it'd be good. Great. I mean, they do open quite late at Marshall, so it's possible I will get it today. Anyway, I don't actually know what they've done. I'll have to chat to the workshop people to find that out. But I'm pleased it's back. Going on the timing, it may be because we just had that notification of the over-the-air update. It may have been they were waiting for that to come out before handing it back. But anyway, I'll just be glad to get it back. I've enjoyed driving the XE, but the XE feels like the past when it comes to driving. The I-Pace feels like the future. It's certainly very strange when you go to accelerate at 30 miles an hour and having a bit of lag there. The I-Pace is just so instant.
Anyway, XE's a nice car though. It's a very executive car. The new one looks like it's very taken an awful lot of features from the I-Pace, certainly on the interior. But this one, yeah, it's lacking somewhat. And I think it's lacking in the driving compared to the I-Pace. Handling on the I-Pace and the XE are similar, which you wouldn't possibly expect for the difference of weight and height. Obviously, the I-Pace is a taller car, but performance, there's nothing in it. The I-Pace it's just amazing. It's now Wednesday, and that's a week since my car went into for repair. It's not going to be ready until Friday. They want me to talk to one of their technicians, the specialist technician who's been on the I-Pace course. And as they put it, they want him to tell me things the salesman may not have told me. Interesting. I wonder what that could be. Probably about charging. A lot of my complaints, my issues were around charging. Maybe he wants to show me the proper way to do charging, probably time charging. But I think I probably know how that works from what I've read in the forums. But we'll see. If there's anything comes up, I'll obviously report it in. Anyway, today's exciting. We're seeing on the forums the first examples of people getting over-the-air updates. Now, there's 19A due to come out shortly for the navigation system, the infotainment system. That's not what people are getting at the moment. People who've reported in have usually getting older versions. 18C has been mentioned. And that kind of makes sense. If you're sending out updates, you want to make sure everybody's on the latest old version, if you see what I mean, prior to putting the new version on. There may be things which are dependent on older updates. But it's good. It's good to see that these tranches of updates are going out. Not everybody's getting them. A tranche is kind of like a group of people getting an update. It's quite a common practice in the world of computing. You don't want to overload your servers. And it makes kind of sense that tranche may be people who are needing the older version to be updated. So over the next few days, I think we'll see everybody starting to get these over-the-air update prompts. Now, nobody else I know yet has actually run the update. It's going to take a little while to download, I suspect, and it's got to be done probably on the SIM card or over the Wi-Fi. If you've got Hams, be able to park in an area where you get good Wi-Fi coverage, that'd be probably a good way to do it. But it's going to take a little while to run, and it's going to be quite a bit of data to come down. Maybe not a good idea to do that on the Jaguar supplied SIM you get in the UK, because I'm sure it's going to be more 500 megs. But anyway, those updates will be run. We'll see what happens when people try and install them. Hopefully it's going to be as smooth as it showed in that video I put up yesterday about the email from Jaguar. I had a little video actually in the email. I'll show a bit of it now, which looks very straightforward to do. So hopefully it's as simple as that, but obviously with Jaguar we could never quite know, especially with the I-Pace. But anyway, it's really good news. I mean, we've been waiting for updates to come out where we don't have to go to the garage. As I said last week's video, that updates are going to be difficult for garages to do because of the financial side of things. So it's really good to see them coming over the air. Anyway, let's see what happens.
Well, hello, still in the XE, so yeah, I still want to get my car back, but I can kind of get the idea that we might want to spend a bit of time and talk through some of these issues.
So I was hoping to get a chance to compare and contrast the lights on this XE to the I-Pace. I don't know, I'm going to get the I-Pace for a little while. I thought it would be worth a test. So these are just standard conventional lights compared to the active headlights on the I-Pace. So hopefully we'll be able to get some recordings of that for you now. The way the lights work in this is very different to the way they work in my I-Pace. The I-Pace has got the adaptive headlights, which sort of like block out certain areas to see. When I get it back, I'll do some filming on that as well. I think I've got some video from last week, so let me show you that, just so you can see how the adaptive headlights work.